Right, this is going to be a long video. Well, I think so. I've not edited this yet, but we'll see. Hi everyone, my name is Hannah and I am the creator and founder of Whimsically Designs. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the history of my business from basically when I started my business from where I am now today. This will kind of be a longish video in a sense of technically, I would say I've been running my business for about 4 years, but I'm going to talk about when I literally started a small business, which was about 11 years ago, give or take. And also, this video is kind of going to be split up into different parts because I will be, I could do this video for hours, but I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to do a very basic timeline of how I started my business to where I am now, but I might make another video talking about my time at university, showing you my work that I made at university, and potentially, actually I will definitely do this because I found this so helpful from other YouTubers, is learning my mistakes that I've made doing a small business. And believe me, it's a lot. So let's start from the very beginning. I possibly started my business around about the end of 2012, beginning of 2013, and I will show you some photos here every once in a while, but please remember this was potentially like OG Instagram pictures, which were like the square pictures that were a bit blurry and you had to put all those like filters on it. So please don't judge my photographs, that was just what it was back then. But at the same time, I miss that Instagram so much. It was so much easier to get followers back then. Whereas now the algorithm is just completely out the window and I feel like I very rarely get any followers. Whereas when I first created my account, I got 100 followers within a week or something like that. It's ridiculous now, but that's another story to rant about. Coincidentally, I actually started making polymer clay for my business at the very start. Now, the reason I started my business was because I think it was in first year at university and I didn't have a part-time job. I was getting money every month from SAS, which was really, really handy. So that kind of kept me going. For those who don't know what SAS is, I'm a Scottish student and we go to university for free, but because I applied for a student loan, which is called SAS, I then got an income from university every month just to have, basically. It was basically free money, but I'm having to pay that back now. So that was handy to have. So I did have that, but at the same time, I didn't want to just purely rely on that. And I was looking for part-time jobs. I just wasn't really getting anywhere with interviews because I didn't really have a job before. I did work a couple of months in a restaurant and it was just, they didn't care about my hours at college at the time and I just had enough because it was affecting my work and I hadn't found a job after I left there. So the money I got as my income, I ended from SAS, I started buying some supplies and making some jewellery, and it was mainly polymer clay stuff. Started making like little cute fondant fancy cupcake rings. Started off with that, which was going really well. I only had a few pieces, and then when I maybe sold a couple of pieces, I then started buying like second-hand like board games like Monopoly. I bought Lego and Scrabble pieces. You remember the Scrabble rings? I was one of those people that made them. I basically jumped on the trend and took the advantage of it, and that made me a lot of money. So I made Lego earrings, Lego rings, Monopoly pieces. It was basically just like knickknacks of everything, really, really cheap, really basic earrings that I was selling for a maximum of a fiver, and like £1 to £5. It was not expensive. And that was just more like pocket money. I wasn't really good at keeping tab on my finances, which will be mentioned in another video about a big mistake I did for my small business. While I was doing all that kind of stuff, I was at university doing a kind of general foundation course. And for those who don't know what that is, it was a first year of basically doing I went to art school, and it was basically just like doing bits and pieces of all kinds of art, and that was where you would learn what you want to specialize in for your final 3 years of university. And at this point, I realised I really wanted to do jewellery. I still wasn't very sure about it because I think a lot of people did kind of say, oh, you won't make a career out of it. But honestly, I just loved it. I loved the fact I could make things, which is what I prefer to do. I wasn't much of a painter, I was a maker. And my parents actually bought me I think it was like a 4-week jewellery course at Vanilla Ink. They were still based in Dundee, where I was from at the time. They're now moved over to Glasgow. So I did a few weeks course on that, and it was dabbling in basic skills, a variety of things, and one of the things they did show us was making resin jewellery, and that's something else I then incorporated into my business. I was making kind of like sweetie resin stuff, which now that I look back on it, I wonder if anybody's bought those pieces of jewellery. Have you still got them, and what do the sweets look like? Because now that I think back on it, was like, would that cause them to mould inside the resin? Never thought of that till just now, so I'm a little bit worried, so oh dear. Also during that time, I started to get into doing craft fairs. I started off really small, just doing like a really like a pub local one, and then there was somebody else that was doing regular ones almost every single month, which I started attending quite a bit, and that was kind of like an extra bit of income, which was really handy. And I got the exposure that I wanted. People were starting to see me online and actually coming to my craft fairs to buy some of my stuff, which was absolutely amazing. And once I decided that I wanted to specialise in jewellery for my degree, I then started incorporating silverwork into my business. So I started off making really basic textured rings, textured earrings, just non-expensive stuff, because silver was really expensive. Well, not really expensive, but you know what I mean. For all, it's not like you could just go and buy £5 worth of polymer clay and that can make you hundreds of pairs of earrings, whereas £5 worth of silver, you're lucky if you get like 1 or 2 pieces of jewellery from it. So I wasn't making as much stuff as I was, and because I was incorporating more silver work, my kind of novelty stuff was kind of getting pushed out the way, because I knew I wanted to specialise in jewellery, and my sales were obviously going down because the silver stuff I was making were obviously more expensive, so I wasn't getting as much sales as I was hoping, but I still got the odd sale here and there, which was fantastic. About 2013 to 2016, that was when I was at university, and the novelty stuff was pretty much gone by the end of 2016, or the end of 2016, mid 2016, because that was when I graduated. And you'll probably see a picture of me somewhere here of the degree show work that I made, and a picture of me next to my work. Yes, I look completely different, and please don't judge. I loved my work. It was something that I've always liked resin. There was something about it that I really enjoyed, and the effect that I used to get from making these pieces, the kind of bubbly effect, I've never seen that done before, and I found a way of doing that, and it was definitely an eye catcher, and a lot of people really liked it. And I was really looking forward to leaving university and thinking, this is it, I'm going to have a business, I'm going to have a full-time business, I'm going to be selling my work at all these stockists and these galleries and stuff like that. I just thought that was what was going to happen. I was very delusional obviously back then, because it's not as easy as that. So I took a bit of time off, because between the time I was graduating and about the October holidays time, October holidays, I was going away on holiday, so I thought I'll give myself a wee break and just relax, enjoy just working, not doing I did have a part-time job by this point, forgot to say that. So I was kind of working part-time job. I wasn't really looking for full-time jobs at the moment, because I was going away for 2 weeks in October with my family, and I thought I'll do a fresh start after that point, which would just make more sense, because then I didn't want to get a job and then say I got I've got 2 weeks holiday, I can't, and because I've noticed that happened to me quite a bit. So when I got back from holiday, I then looked at my work that I made at my degree show and tried to find ways of making it like everyday wear, because it was a lot of like statement pieces that I made, and I knew they wouldn't sell because I had to sell them for like hundreds and thousands of pounds, whereas I knew I knew that would be quite difficult to sell. So I started making smaller rings and earrings with the similar textures and designs, and I contacted a stockist that actually really liked my work and took it in, and I was absolutely over the moon. They were sale or return though, so I didn't get the money straight away. It was more like they took my stuff, they would sell it, and whatever money, whatever stock that they sold, they would give me 50% back on that. But I will talk about that in other videos. It's a bit irrelevant at the moment. However, my work just didn't sell. I think a lot of people just liked the look of it, but a lot of people just didn't want to wear it, and it was a bit upsetting. So I then reevaluated my jewellery again. I still want to work with resin because I didn't want to move away too far away with what I actually did at university. So I started doing these kind of like neon pendants and earrings, which to this day, when I was going back of like finding pictures of the work that I did over the years, I forgot I did those earrings, and I loved them so much, and they just didn't sell. I maybe sold about 3 or 4 pieces from that collection, and I was absolutely gutted because I just thought they were so bright and vibrant and people would love them, but obviously not. So I was in this kind of slump trying to like reevaluate my business for about a year or so, and it just wasn't really going anywhere. And I had a full-time job by this point, and I experienced quite a big loss in my family, and I lost the motivation to really do anything. And I basically just walked away from my business without really saying I was quitting. I just lost the passion to make. I made the occasional stuff just more like out of fun or commissions for family or friends, but I just, yeah, it was weird. I had my workbench, I had my stuff there, but I think I just went into this kind of slump for a good couple of years where I just wanted to just step away from it. I just felt defeated, and I thought if I go back to doing that, I'm gonna fail anyway, so what's the point of even trying? So yeah, it was a bit, there was a good 2-ish years where I literally did nothing for my business. It was just non-existent. My Instagram was and business pages were just again non-existent. I deleted my Etsy account because then nothing was selling, and I would be paying every month anyway for listing stuff and not making any money, so it was just a waste. So I spent that time kind of focusing on myself. I wanted to do some more amazing opportunities. I was a volunteer at Girl Guiding, and an opportunity came up for adults to do like international trips, and I thought this would be amazing because at the time I also was very single, so nothing was holding me back. I still lived with my parents, and I had a full-time job, so I had some money to be like, you know what, I can focus on myself. I'm gonna go traveling, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I was so excited. So at the end of 2018, I signed up for a international trip for Girl Guiding, and I found out I was going away for 2 weeks in Finland the following year, and I also booked my first solo trip to Italy. And then 2019 happened. Now 2019, everybody go on about 2020 saying it was like the worst year ever. For me, 2019 was the best / worst year of my life, but let me explain. It was a lot of good things. It was just hectic. I had my first solo trip. That was probably the first thing that I did at the start of the year. And then coincidentally, the reason I wanted to go to Italy was because all my friends were getting married and having kids, and I didn't really have anybody to go on holidays with, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go by myself. I don't need no man. And about a week or two before I went on holiday, I then started speaking to my now fiance. And within a couple of days of getting back from Italy, we went on our first date, and obviously it went very well because we've got a house, we're engaged, and we have an 18-month-year-old daughter. And as I said, later on in the year, I went to Finland for 2 weeks camping there with some of the guides. I then went to Krakow with my boyfriend for a wedding. It was just so much stuff going on. Oh, also I was doing a camp with the guides, and there was about 100 guys that I had to, it was my mum and I that organised this event. My mum did pretty much all the organising, and I ran the event. So that was something big that was happening also that year. I'm gonna, you know what, I'm having flashbacks of everything I did in 2019. I was also a steward at the Queen's Garden Party at Buckingham Palace. So that was like a day trip to, I literally went to London in the morning and was back in Dundee at nighttime. It was a hectic day. So I think that was pretty much, I'm sure there was loads of other things that were going on in 2019, but as you can tell, there was so much stuff going on. I literally had no time for my business. I told my boyfriend I had a business, but he never saw me make anything. And I showed him work that I made, and he would always say, oh, it looks great, why do you not do this? And I was like, I don't have any time. I'm either organising for these events, or I'm basically hanging out with you, or I'm working. I literally had no time. And I think when it got to the point where things started to slow down a little bit, and it was literally just my partner and my work, that was when he kind of encouraged me to get back into making. And he even he tried to like make a bet of like, oh, make like really simple earrings, and if you end up selling 10 pairs of them before Christmas, I will get my ear pierced and I will wear your jewellery. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but it made me want to get back into making. And I'm so glad he did that for me. It gave me the boost that I needed to make again, and I realised that I loved it, and it just all came back, and I thought I'd spend a bit of time working on an actual design, like a collection and a design concept that I can work on, and it's like so it'll give me that final push to really take my business seriously again. And also at the end of the year, I applied again for Vanilla Ink. This was more of like a they call it the incubator program, where it's for business jewellery designers, and it's just helping them with their business, how to do everything. This course kind of started just before COVID hit, so I didn't get the full benefit of it, of going to Glasgow every month to do these workshops, but overall I did learn a lot of things through it. So if that is something that you are interested in, I think they've just opened up their applications for the program for next year, I think. So if you Google Vanilla Ink Glasgow, it's not just UK based. I think they've had a lot of international people doing this, because I think they've now incorporated Zoom calls and stuff like that you can do. I think potentially if you're in Europe, it might be a bit easier, because I think they might recommend you come over at least once, but I'm not quite sure how it all works now. It's completely different to when I did it last time, but definitely worth checking out if that is something that you're wanting to do. And now it comes to the famous 2020. 2020 was honestly, I don't want to say it was the best year. There was a lot of stuff going on personally. I hated my job. Something happened at my job, and I realised I didn't want to be there anymore. I spent the start of 2020 looking for jobs, and then obviously when COVID hit, I was obviously very relieved because I didn't have to go into work, and also that meant I had a bit of time to really focus on my business. And when I say really focus, I pretty much turned it into my full-time job. So I made sure that every single day I got up, and about 9-10 o'clock I would sit in my studio and do sketches and playing around with my website and prototyping products until I felt comfortable enough that I had stock that I could take photos of and actually launch my website. And it was like the best time, and I actually started making money. As I said, with like what I said previously, I was selling silver stuff, so obviously sales were not consistent, but at least I had maybe the odd sale here and there, and we get about £60 compared to getting 6 orders of polymer clay that would probably just reach 60 quid. So it all kind of depended. It was a bit hit or miss. When I did get sales, it was amazing. It was fantastic. And I was just so happy I was finally getting somewhere with my business. So here's what my work looked like then. And it was all based on shadows, which I love the idea of. Even made pendants that would like cast shadows onto your chest, and that would kind of be it was like initials. So it was like a new way of wearing initial pendants without actually having the initials on the pendant. It would actually cast onto the chest. So many people loved that concept, and I sold quite a few of those necklaces, which I was so proud of. And the other great thing was when the shop started opening back up, I contacted a few stockists, and I ended up getting, I think, 3 stockists within a month. And again, it was amazing. So at least I had some sort of like monthly income from them, which would help me help me with my business. And I was hoping I would make enough to not go back to work, but unfortunately I did have to go back to work. But obviously it was not for long, because we then went into lockdown again by Christmas. So I was making that collection for a good couple of years. The restrictions started to lift from COVID. I was able to go to craft fairs, and I actually did quite a few, and I was doing really, really well. I was very successful with my business. However, in mid-2022, I found out I was pregnant. And that is when my business started to slow down a bit again. When I was about 8-9 weeks pregnant, I started getting extremely serious morning sickness. And it got so bad that I ended up in hospital overnight. However, I never had to go back into hospital, which I'm very grateful for, but this morning sickness basically lasted almost my entire pregnancy. Because of that, I had no energy and no effort, and even was just too scared to go into my workshop to do anything, because I didn't want to start a project and feel sick. And I don't know if anybody else is like this, but if you are doing something and something bad happens, like I would do something and I would be sick, my association with that thing would then be negative because I was sick. And I didn't want that to happen with me. Like, for example, I started playing this video game with my partner, and I suddenly felt really, really sick and had to go to the bathroom. And I refused to pick up that game again for about a year, because I was worried that if I continued playing this game, it would make me feel sick again. It's just what goes on in my head. So I think in my head I was like, I don't want to go to my workbench and ruin this one amazing thing that I love doing, and be completely ruined by pregnancy. Unfortunately, because I couldn't restock work for my stockist because I was so unwell, I contacted them just to say, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to discontinue my collection and take my stuff out because I can't fully commit to providing the service I can for you with my business. Which was heartbreaking, but it was the best decision, because it was something I just didn't need to worry about. So I kind of pushed everything to the side and thought, I'll just focus on myself and my baby's health and not put extra stress on me. I would also like to point, I had a new job by this point, and they were absolutely amazing, so supportive, and I'm so thankful for them for being so nice to me during the sickness, and they were so understanding, because believe me, if I was in that situation at my previous job, they would yeah, because if I was having this morning sickness at my previous job, yeah, they would not be very happy about it. When it got to about Christmas time, before I had my daughter, I started feeling better. The morning sickness kind of passed, and I wanted to start making, but I wasn't ready to make silver stuff again. And the reason was because there was a lot of chemicals that needed to be used for making my jewellery, and I couldn't be bothered with the fumes and the chemicals and just the general smells of the products that I had to use. So I started doing a bit of research, looking at things that I can maybe make on the side, and that was when I rediscovered polymer clay jewellery. So I bought a couple of colours and a couple of cutters, and I started making these earrings here, and I sold them at an event where I still had silver stock. I had already signed up to a market at Christmas time, and because I'd already paid for it, I was still going to go to it. And luckily my partner came with me just in case I needed to like run to the bathroom. And I had them just in a little plate at the side, like a decorative plate at the side, and sold them really dirt cheap, because I didn't know if this was a thing, and they were really eye-catching. Like, a lot of people kept coming up being like, oh my goodness, they're so cheap, I love these, they're amazing. So oh, thanks. And I realized, I was like, oh, maybe I could make more of this. And it was good that I could just sit and make, and even just watch stuff on TV. I could still sit with my partner in the living room and make this sort of stuff. And that was when I just realized, this is it, I want to make polymer clay stuff. So the silver stuff went, and the polymer clay came back in, and this is basically what I make now. And honestly, I don't think I'd go back to silver. If I was, it would probably be silver clay stuff, because sometimes I do look at some of the things that I make and go, that would be quite cute in silver, and I could maybe make stuff with the cutters that I've got with the silver clay. But again, it's something I'm not like in a rush to do at the moment, and it will be something I will keep in the back of my mind. But at the moment, I'm so happy with where I am with my business and making stuff that makes me happy. Because I think with the silver stuff, you do get a bit restricted with your skills, whereas polymer clay, you can pick up the skills a lot quicker, and it's not that expensive to buy tools. Whereas if I wanted to make something brand new, or well, if I wanted to make something with a specific skill for silver, some of the tools cost between 50 to £1,000. Like, it, most of the stuff I was looking at, thinking I want to do some stone settings, like really advanced stuff, it was going to cost me about £250 just for the tools, and they weren't even that big. And this is where we are today, making polymer clay jewellery and loving life, and I couldn't be more happier. A lot of people say that you learn from your mistakes, and I definitely learned from my mistakes over the past 11 years. But I think this is definitely it. This is definitely what my business is meant to be. After rebranding, I don't know how many times, I'm just happy to finally get to a place where I'm happy with my work. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sorry if this was like a bit of a ramble session, but I hope this was quite informative for you, and hopefully there's other people out there like me that don't feel defeated. Your time will come. I feel like this year is the first time I felt like my business has actually been the most successful it's ever been in the past 11 years. And I'm hoping this means that it's one step further to quitting my full-time job and doing this as a living. Before we go, I just want to quickly announce that I now have a Patreon account, and you have 3 tiers to choose from, and I will try and remember as much of them as I can at the top of my head. The Daisy tier, that is £2 a month, and it is just basically just some money just to say that you're wanting to support my business, and Also, you will get access to my blog posts that I will be posting on Patreon before I announce anything to my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok account. We've got the Sunflower tier, which is £4 a month. So you get the previous reward where you can get access to my posts. And you'll also get, I had to dig out my notebook. So apologies if I'm reading this off because I'm not good at remembering. You will get a shout out on this YouTube channel. At the end of the video, I will put little credits up with your name on it just to say thank you. You'll be added to a Discord chat where we will talk about small business stuff and just basically give each other the help and support that we all need. I am an introvert and I feel like I've missed out on an opportunity to make friends through small businesses, so I think this would be a great idea to help other people get support and make some friends through the creative platform. You'll get a monthly 5% off discount code. This can be used on my shop. You are a small business, you will be added to my Shop Small Sundays. And Shop Small Sundays will be me posting about your business on my Instagram account and posting all of your recent work and basically giving you promotion and hopefully some sales along the way. You will also get sneak peeks of future collections and helping me vote on designs, whether I go for different colours, different designs, and just help me decide what designs to put in my final collection, because I come up with about 20 and I'm not very good at narrowing it all down, so you guys can help me with this. So every month I will be launching mini collections and will be closing my shop just to update my website with all my new stock, and you will get a password to get access to my website to make any purchases before anybody else. This means it will be before anybody from my monthly newsletters as well. Finally, in this tier I will be doing a random purchase from a small business. I'm starting to learn I need to treat myself, so if there's any small businesses out there and you apply for this tier, you will be added into a hat, and I will pick a name out at random, and whatever business I pick out, I will be buying something from your business. I will be posting a review of it on my Instagram, my YouTube and my TikTok account to get the exposure again that you need. And the last tier, which is the Tulip tier, you will get everything from the tiers before, and you will also get a 15% off discount code on my website and a free pair of earrings. Each earrings will be themed every month and they will be sent out to you on the last week of the month. So if you want to support my business, I would really appreciate, even if you just do the Daisy tier, just the £2 a month, I would love you so much for that, because I'm really wanting to push for my business and I want this to be successful, and I want this to be my full-time job. And don't get me wrong, I do love my job, but it's just not what I want to do. I want to do this. I will be doing a couple more videos in this kind of setup. This is my bedroom because my studio is still a bit of a mess. So I will be doing a couple more of these one-to-one chatting videos until I move into my new house in a couple of weeks' time, and hopefully do like a renovation vlog. And I will be doing more vlogs once I get into the new house, whereas here is a bit more difficult because we're just surrounded by boxes at the moment. But I promise you, I've got loads of exciting new content that I want to make for you guys, and I can't wait to share my jewellery business journey with you guys. But thank you so much for watching. See you next week.